Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. So I got into the office this morning and got an email that I don't want to talk about the email directly, but it kind of brought up to mind the topic of people's expectations. And so what this email was is that one of my customers is about to renew his policy, and the policy cost did go up, and he was not happy with it. Now, a couple of things jump out right away. Is that me took a look at his policy and was immediately like, that's it? Goodness, I thought, and of course he exaggerated in the email itself about how much it actually was. Let me explain. It was a $65 increase. So it wasn't like $3. But at the same time, the way he was going on in the email, and first of all, he did exaggerate. It's like, it was almost $100. It's not almost 100, but that's definitely, that's his perception of it. And that's fine. But right away, it's like, goodness, I've had such larger increases on even my own policy that, my first instinct is, well, that's not very much, but it might be very much. And so, right away we have a perception of expectations. It's like someone is expecting something out of insurance, and he's specifically expecting that price to stay the same if he does not have an accident. And I said so much in his email, that he couldn't believe that we would go up in price when he hasn't had an accident. And of course, that's not how insurance works. And I'm astonished by the number of people who think that it does work like that. Like you are in a pool of yourself, and we're just we're just piling up the money so that when you need it, we shift it to you. And of course, that's not how insurance works. So we know that, but sometimes we have to actually sit down and explain that. Hey. An increase in a much larger pool means an increase for you, but that is a conversation we need to have. But the second expectation is one that really struck me. It's like, okay, that the price thing I understand, the price thing I get. I mean, $65 over 6 months is too much for some people, and it's not too much for others. I dig. But the other expectation is that he was upset that I have not called him about his increase or contacted him. And he says that apparently we're not good at customer service. Now, I haven't mentioned, that his renewal is not until July. We're in May right now. And so it's about 6 weeks away. And we're not even in our office, we're not even looking at those policies yet. We started out doing much earlier reviews and stuff, and it just really didn't work. And so we started pushing it to about the 1 month part. But that's a process thing. But his expectation was, if we are 6 weeks away and he has not been contacted about his price increase, that's bad customer service. And I don't think there's many people who would agree with that. Many customers, I think would be totally fine with not having that contact that early, but they would think that 1 month is reasonable, but he does not. And it's just a reminder to us. It should be a reminder to us that different people have different expectations of us, and they're not all going to fit into our into our procedural box. And so this is one of those cases. Now we have a decision to make. Are his expectations unreasonable? And and even there's a couple of categories. Are they unreasonable but fixable with a little bit of training for our customer, or are they just unreasonable as in we are never going to get along? And if they're unreasonable but correctable, then we have a conversation with the customer and sit down and explain. It's like, hey, this is when we review policies. This still, a month out still gives us plenty of time to do this, and the other thing. Or are his expectations reasonable and we should bend our procedures to him? And I want to encourage you, don't just stand on your procedures. Don't live and die by your procedures. No one cares. No one out there cares what your procedures are. Your procedures are a way for you to make sure that your office is following up on things. But no one cares what they actually are. No one cares that you review files 4 weeks out, not 6 weeks out. And so if they're not unreasonable, if his demands are not unreasonable, then just do them. I can, like when I get emails like this, I want to get defensive and I want to, just kind of bow up and get ready to fight because, saying I have bad customer service because I haven't called them 6 weeks in advance is kind of outrageous. But that's my instinct. But that I have to ask myself: does that actually help anything? And if it's not helping anything, is it actually hurting things? And would it be so bad to contact this guy a little bit earlier? So, in this case, I'm just going to set myself a reminder. At 7 weeks out, to check to see if the renewal's in there, and to start doing it for him earlier. That is to say, if he stays with me, there's plenty of threats of, that he's going to go shopping for everything, and but if he does stay, then in 6 months from now, we'll be ahead of him, and especially in today's technology days, that's so easy to do. You set yourself electronic reminders from however long out you want to. You forget about it, and it'll pop up in 6 months. And so that's my encouragement. And to be fair, there have been cases where expectations have been too much, and I've had to sit down with customers, and and a couple of them were unwilling to change their expectations, and we parted ways because they were unreasonable. But in this case, just despite my instinct to be defensive about my process, there's not really any need to be. And so, for this customer, we'll just change it. That's what's going on over here. I appreciate you watching, and we will be back very soon. Talk to you later.